In London present, the echoes of London's past still reverberate clearly. As the city moves further into the 21st century, these echoes can surprise us with their clarity. Deep in the comfortable heart of Surrey lies an eerie legacy of another century. In 30 acres of scrubland lies Brooklands, Britain's first ever racing track. Opened in 1907, Brooklands, with its banked circuit, was dedicated to the pursuit of motoring's holy grail, the attempt to drive at 100 miles an hour. On this track, world records were won and lost. Men and machines were pushed to breaking point. Now, almost a century later, the passion and sacrifice of these pioneering days has not been forgotten.
It's at about this point the first man to exceed 100 miles in an hour came to a sticky end. It's also about this point where a number of sightings have been seen. Ghosts and sudden death go together.
There were up to 12 racing drivers killed on the track at Brooklands.
Around about the 1950s, a number of people saw apparitions, mainly on the banking here at Brooklands, the steepest part of the banking.
Many of the people who still work at the site believe that Brooklands is haunted by echoes of the past. And of all the drivers who came here, one man stands out, Percy Lambert, a world record holder who died at Brooklands on Halloween 1913.
I wouldn't want to put a name to any particular ghost, but people do see things, they do seem to experience the unexplained, and I'm sure Percy Lambert is one of the great sort of candidates because of the tragic circumstances of his death.
Of all the ghosts that have been seen here, perhaps the most famous is Percy Lambert. To a lot of people, Percy was probably the most popular driver here. He was a short, jovial man, very popular driver.
In the years before the First World War, people flocked to see drivers like Percy Lambert race in their custom-made vehicles and push the new technology to ever higher speeds.
It was the world's first purpose-built motor racing circuit, and even then it was one of only about 3 in the world. It opened in 1907, and in the years running up to the First World War, it had developed into a very popular venue.
The dapper Percy became one of the biggest stars of the track. He'd been competing for several years and travelled down from London to race his streamlined silver Talbot, determined to make his name at Brooklands. One of the biggest challenges was the speed record. The French driving ace Victor Emery had managed to hit 97.59 miles an hour in 1912. If Percy could break the 100-mile-an-hour barrier, he would be a British hero.
The aim at the time was to travel over 100 miles an hour. Nobody had come close to achieving it at that time. It was really almost like space age, someone landing on the moon or even Mars today.
In the early days, motor racing was a very dangerous business. Percy Lambert wore no helmet, and the technology was unproven. In particular, pneumatic tyres, so successful on the lightweight slow-speed bicycle, could not take the strain of high-speed racing. Tyres could easily blow, with catastrophic results.
He'd already had one attempt, which he'd failed because the tyre burst, and a week later he re-attempted it, and he took the record of over 103 miles an hour.
Percy Lambert had, to his delight on his second attempt, become one of Great Britain's most famous men, thrashing the French ace's record and reaching an incredible 103 miles an hour.
Following that record, he proposed to his girlfriend. She reluctantly agreed because she didn't like the idea of him tearing around racetracks trying to break records. So he agreed that he would give up record breaking.
But Percy Lambert wanted to break one last record. He must have known the risks he was running.
Percy Lambert decided he was going to break the record again, and he was determined to get the 110 mile an hour record.
He was one of motor racing's great pioneers. Having broken one record, he was determined to do it again at any cost.
His big fear all the time had been tyre technology. Whilst he knew the car could do 110 miles in 1 hour, the question was, could the tyres?
Halloween 1913 was an eerie day. A mist hung over Brooklands and visibility was poor. Percy Lambert set out with some trepidation.
He was very nervous on the day. He'd been delayed by poor weather, but by noon I think he attempted the record. He was travelling around the other side of Members Hill, having completed several laps, when a tyre burst and the car went out of control. He took it to the top of the banking to try and control it. It then zigzagged and somersaulted 3 times. He was thrown out, suffered a fractured skull, and was taken to Weybridge Cottage Hospital, where he was dead on arrival.
The worst-case scenario had happened. On Halloween 1913, Percy Lambert's tyre had burst, killing him. Peter Rickman, a Brooklands Museum volunteer, regularly leads ghost searches along the old banking, looking for the mysterious driver in white who died on Halloween, the night of the dead.
The fact he died on October the 31st, which is Halloween, is probably one of the reasons why he's been seen so often. The dates people die, particularly sudden death, are very significant. A number of people have asked me if I believe in ghosts. I don't deny them. After all, standing up here in the middle of the night, you never know who or what may be watching you.
There are numerous reports of sightings along Brooklands racetrack. A figure in white has often been seen walking the embankment, and workers have complained of the hangar lights flickering and of hearing the noise of a car crashing at speed outside. As they run out to see the cause of the commotion, all is silent on the raceway. The past is still there, an echo in the darkness.